My name is Miles Morales. I'm Brooklyn's only Spider-Man, and things are going great. Sorry! There's an elite crew with all the best spider people in it? Peter, you have a baby!
I knew I was gonna regret making her that web shooter.
Don't tell Mom.
What do you want?
I'm robbing you because I'm a bad guy.
You can never be part of this.
Don't even get me started on Doctor Strange and the little nerd back on Earth 1999-99.
Who's Doctor Strange? Sounds like he maybe shouldn't practice medicine.
The reason that I do any of this in the first place, I will always be here for you. I think you're getting pretty good at being a parent.
Did you bring our baby to another fight?
No.
And then they go and grow up. He's a good kid. I just don't want to lose him.
Stop him! Now!
Miles!
You gotta let him spread his wings, man. I should go.
I do the empire!
Run! Huh?
I'm here to help.
Miles? You're not supposed to be here!
Who's that?
Hey, who's the new guy?
Hey, Pop.
I'm sorry.
Who are you?
I'm glad you asked, new guy.
I'm not a new guy.
My name is Professor Prabhakar. I live in the best possible Spider-Man city, Mumbai. This is where the traffic is. This is also where the traffic is. There's traffic here too. Being Spider-Man is so easy. I wake up, skip the workout because I'm naturally buff and I don't want to get too big, you know? Fight a few bad guys. Quick break for a cup of chai with my Maya auntie.
I love chai tea.
What did you just say? Chai tea? Chai means tea, bro. You're saying tea. Would I ask you for a coffee with room for cream?
No.
Miles, there's chapters that are a part of every spider story every time.
No!
You have a choice between saving one person and saving an entire world. Every world.
Stop him! Now!
Miles! No!
You can't run forever, kid!
I'm just as much a Spider-Man as any of you.
Miles, come on!
This tension is so palpable. How can you guys even concentrate?
All you had to do was listen!
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go.
All stations, drop what you're doing and stop Spider-Man. Wait, me? Coño, Miles Morales, he's entering Sector 4!
Do I, have web on my face? What's the deal?
Miles! Wait, he's right there, he's right. Turn around!
I don't see anything, boss.
This thing get any damn weirder? Well, I guess it can.
And then I looked at my uncle and...
Let me guess. He died?
I'm sorry, who exactly are you supposed to be?
Isn't it obvious?
The Blue Panther.
That's funny.
Sorry, the only Italian I know is from Mario Kart.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer. Obviously, a bunch of cool live-action Venom crossover footage in there, so I'll explain what's going on with that because it supports some of my theories about how they're bringing these Spider-Verse characters into the live-action universe in preparation for Secret Wars. A lot of that's also preparing them for what's happening in the next Spider-Verse movie, which they're calling Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, and I think part of the play on those words means beyond animation, like into live-action. So it has begun. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming up. Of course, I'll do more videos for the movie as it gets ready to come out too. There's so many really cool, really huge, literally and metaphorically things happening during all this new footage. So I'll just start with the biggest stuff first. Obviously, the live-action Venom stuff. What it looks like is happening is they're confirming in this scene that the Spot's ability allows him to portal to other universes, and he's going to a bunch of these different universes, encountering these other versions of Spider-Man. And in one instance, he goes to the Venom universe where all these Venom movies take place. Like, we're getting ready for Venom 3 to start filming. I just did a whole bunch of videos about that, so I'll link them below in the description. But the Spot goes to Mrs. Chen's bodega and steals some gum, and if you zoom in and enhance on the gum, it says Venom Mint, so they're actually creating merch based on Venom that Mrs. Chen is selling. Maybe she has something to do with this too, because it's a bit of a play on the idea that even in Miles Morales' Ultimate Spider-Man universe, he's been Spider-Man long enough that they've actually started to create merch based on him, like the little kid at that funny scene where he says that he doesn't want to wear the mask of Miles Morales' Spider-Man anymore because he botches the save against the Spot here when they're fighting amidst the bubbles.
I don't think I want this costume anymore.
I don't know how much more Venom or other live-action characters we're going to see in this. I think initially we just assumed that there would be some live-action version of Tom Holland, MCU Spider-Man crossing over, like Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, because there have been other Easter eggs for those characters in previous trailers.
Don't even get me started on Doctor Strange and the little nerd back on Earth 1999.
Who's Doctor Strange? Sounds like he maybe shouldn't practice medicine.
Did it work?
Look, they have all the scenes of them making fun of Doctor Strange and the Nerd from Earth 19999, which is a play on Tom Holland's MCU Spider-Man in the events of Spider-Man No Way Home. Tom Holland even said that they tried to have a cameo with him in the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie, but at the time they needed him, he was busy working on Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, as well as Spider-Man Far From Home, so there was just way too much stuff in his schedule. The next time we'll see Spider-Man will be in Spider-Man 4, which isn't coming out till 2025, so there's plenty of room for him to have cameo scenes. What I think, though, is that we won't see the Spider-Verse characters themselves, the live-action versions, until Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. They'll just be teasers and crossovers with live-action elements like the Venom stuff happening in this movie. So they're sort of easing you into live-action combined with animation crossing over, which they kind of did during Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness when he and America Chavez traveled through the animated universe. So even on the MCU side of things, they've been preparing people like, oh yeah, animation and live-action in the same movie. If the characters from the animated universe or universes traveled to a live-action universe, they would also become live-action versions of themselves. Even recently, Haley Steinfeld was asked about this too because she plays Spider-Gwen, and the idea is that Spider-Gwen will eventually come into live-action heading into Secret Wars. But she also plays Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye series live-action MCU. She'll be in Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty and some version of Secret Wars too. What's going to happen if those characters meet on screen?
It's not stupid. I've thought about it. Who do I think actually wins? Wow, so it seems as much as I've thought about it, I don't know that I have the answer. I think they're both highly, highly capable and skilled.
The way she answers the question, you could tell that she's thought about it, but she doesn't know for sure whether or not they might actually do it. So she's trying to waffle and not answer the question like, oh, okay, that's a really good question. Like, oh, you clearly have thought about this. But the funny thing about that is that because Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars are still so far off, still a couple years away, they don't tell the actors about that kind of plot. Like if Spider-Gwen were actually going to meet a version of Kate Bishop, they wouldn't tell her years ahead of time. She probably wouldn't even find out until she saw it in the movie theater. But I think at the end of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, we'll get a teaser for Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, and that's the movie, like by the end of that movie, you'll see the live-action versions of these Spider-Verse characters. One of the other biggest new scenes, too, is when he's fighting the rest of the Spider Army. They're calling the Spider Society. When he's running from the rest of the Spider Society here, hiding on this Spider-Man's back, this version is called Max Bourne, who's from a distant future that was part of an organization called the Time Spinners, another Spider-Man joke, protecting the timeline like a version of the TVA from the Loki series, but a bunch of versions of Spider-Man. A lot of you theorizing that because Secret Wars is going to be an amalgam of a bunch of different versions of Secret Wars, like the 80s version and the more modern version, what they might wind up doing is when they bring these Spider-Verse characters into live action is instead of the Thor Corps, they might actually substitute the Spider Society in live action. So you just get many, many, many versions of Spider-Man in Secret Wars. That would actually be pretty cool. And even though there are billions of versions of Spider-Man in this, I've already talked about Spider-Cat. He's from the Miles Morales PS4 game. They're also doing the big PS5 showcase, and we're supposed to get a Spider-Man 2 PS5 trailer tomorrow. We might get a Wolverine trailer too. If we do, of course I'll do videos for that stuff. But the other literal and metaphorical big thing in the trailer is the version of Spider-Rex. They're actually doing a version of Spider-Rex. If you didn't read the Spider-Verse comics, Spider-Rex is just a version of Spider-Man from a prehistoric Earth in an alternate universe that got struck by a meteorite with a bunch of alien spiders, and that's how they got their powers. But it gets a little bit weirder. The origin story of those characters on that prehistoric Earth planet His original main villain is a Pterodon version of Green Goblin called Noranosaurman, which is a play on Norman Osborn, but they were both in each other's bodies. The meteor strike caused their minds to switch bodies and gave them powers. For those of you asking, yes, there is a version of Spectacular Spider-Man in the background here too. A lot of people wondering about him because there's the Mangaverse version of Spider-Man, there's Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider, there's a bunch of other versions like Spider-Man Unlimited from that TV show. There's so many little Easter eggs and details that they pack into all the different frames. Just pause on this one particular frame when he's fighting the Spot with all these different portals around him flying through this version of Times Square. If you zoom in and enhance around the frame, there's an ad for Never 21, which is a play on Forever 21 for 2G super slow phone speeds like we're at 5G in real life right now. 2G would be really, really slow. It's underneath a Sony advertisement, like we're talking about product placement, brand placement, because this is a Sony Marvel movie. Of course, they'd want the Sony logo all over the place in there. There's an ad for Phantom of the Opera, but they're calling it Sandman, which is a DC character. There's an ad for W&Ws, which is a parody of M&M's. There's also an ad for Kraven the Hunter. You can see he's wearing a leopard print jacket, his trademark facial hair. He looks like a more modern businessman version of Kraven. Major coincidence, also later this year, Sony is releasing a new Marvel Kraven the Hunter movie as part of their big Sinister Six spin-offs. It's supposed to be rated R, way more hardcore than Sony's other Marvel movies they've been doing recently. Really wish the Venom movies would be rated R. They released a Kraven trailer at CinemaCon a while ago. I did a video for it, so I'll link it at the end of this, but it actually looks like it has a chance at being pretty solid. Either way, the movie is supposed to have an Empire Strikes Back kind of cliffhanger type of ending because it'll push into Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, which will release next year. Originally, they said the movie just got so big that they had to split it into two parts, and part 2 became Beyond the Spider-Verse. And that's why they're releasing it 1 year later instead of another 2 or 3 years later. So it's sort of like their animated version of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame type of Spider-Verse scenario. That's why I think they're building these characters up to cross them into live action for like a real big MCU Secret Wars crossover eventually. Like, how do you go bigger than some of the stuff they're doing in this movie? Well, you bring the characters into live action. Everyone post all your theories about Venom crossover, all the live action crossovers happening in the movie. Of course, I'll do more videos as we get more footage too. Everyone click here for my Marvel Kraven the Hunter trailer video and Easter eggs, and click here for my brand new Secret Invasion trailer. New episodes for that coming really soon too. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.